also in the vetting of the nominees, Mr. Speaker. And I can tell this House, Mr. Speaker, without fear of contradiction, that this is now the real example of women that can lead this country, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished women, women who have prospered in their career, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the nominee for the Attorney General position, Mr. Speaker, when she appeared before us, Mr. Speaker, and she was somebody known to you, Mr. Speaker, for quite some long time, Mr. Speaker, and you worked with her in your profession of the legal fraternity, Mr. Speaker. The lady was exemplary, Mr. Speaker. If the President has rewarded, Mr. Speaker, merit, Mr. Speaker, somebody who deserves a job, Mr. Speaker, then it was in the appointment, in the nomination of Mrs. Dorcas Oduor, Mr. Speaker, as the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, that lady had vast experience in the field that she has been sent to serve, Mr. Speaker. She knew everything, from legal matters to treaties to all kinds of things that we questioned on her, Mr. Speaker. The exemplary work she has done in the ODPP, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Speaker, this is a good example of women. Now, I am convinced that women can lead this country, Mr. Speaker. When I saw the interview of that lady is when I got convinced from that day that we can accept women leadership now, because we are always men chauvinists, Mr. Speaker. Men chauvinists now have agreed that women is a good example of a leader, is a good example of a person who can be trusted with an office, Mr. Speaker, that deserves to be trusted to a woman, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is, Honorable Shakil is making noise here saying that why am I not appreciating my wife, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, my wife is known in my constituency because she campaigns for me and she's a distinguished also leader in her own right. But today we are discussing the appointment of the Attorney General and Mrs. Beatrice School, Mr. Speaker. Mrs. Beatrice School, Mr. Speaker, is somebody known to me. She was in our election board. This is a lady who has shown how you can come from the bottom of the pyramid and go far, like today being our cabinet secretary in this country. Mr. Speaker, no, bottom up is another case. But this one is a bottom up for a different matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this lady also has shown this country that women from minorities, women from marginalized communities can also be leaders in the country, Mr. Speaker. This country is very proud today, Mr. Speaker. If the House approves these two ladies, Mr. Speaker, we will be sending a message to this country and to the international community that we have women of high standard, women of integrity, women who can lead this country and even lead international organizations, Mr. Speaker. When I saw Dorcas Agik speaking, Mr. Speaker, she reminded me of Amina Mohammed, Ambassador Amina Mohammed, Mr. Speaker, who was a friend to me. Distinguished, a cabinet secretary who served in the former regime, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I urge this House that let us not take a lot of time in discussing these two women. These are women of high caliber, high standard. These are women who can lead this country at any time, Mr. Speaker. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support and I request the House to support the committee's recommendation to approve the two nominees, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, I call upon the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Owen Baya Yah, to second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Leader of Minority for moving with passion the adoption of this report.